Good morning and welcome to Alfred Music's webinar series, Learn, Teach, Play Online. My name is Michaela Graham, Senior Event Specialist for Alfred Music, and I will be running everything in the background for our session today. We are thrilled to host today's webinar, Remote Recharge, New Resources for Virtual Learning. Before we get started, I have just a couple of housekeeping notes for you. At the end of today's webinar, we will provide a link to the certificate of attendance for today's session. Please note the certificate of attendance will only be available for live attendees and not for the replay. If you have any questions or comments for our presenters throughout the session, please feel free to drop it in the chat box. We love hearing your thoughts throughout the presentation, and we may have some time for Q&A at the end of today's session. Without further ado, I would like to introduce our presenters today. Andy Beck is the Director of Choral Publications at Alfred Music, and Krista Hart is the Associate Choral Editor, Marketing Manager, as well as a clinician. Andy and Krista, I will let you guys take it away.
Thank you, Michaela. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Krista.
Good morning, Andy.
Gosh, I was getting ready to say, oh, it's a very chilly morning here in Raleigh, North Carolina, but then I'm looking at those temperatures being passed around in the chat window, and I should not be talking about 43 degrees as cold. How is it where you are?
Yeah, I was going to say, I won't mention what it is out here in Southern California.
Okay, we'll just make everybody angry right from the start. Well, welcome everybody. We are so glad you have tuned in this morning for a remote recharge. Here we are in a new year, another semester, and we still have remote teaching as part of our lives. May honestly be a part of our lives for forever, because we're getting more and more accustomed to it and learning that there are some benefits on certain days. I'll give you a quick overview of what we're going to talk about today. We're going to be sharing you resources on the following topics. You'll see resources on vocal warm-ups and sight singing, some choral rehearsal technique builders. We've got some sing-along seasonal songs, music history resources. Krista's going to share some wonderful activities that are designed for the general music students you're teaching remotely or in person. And we'll end up with an on-screen ukulele course.
And really, all of these products are designed to be able to be used whether you're teaching remotely or have a hybrid situation or in the classroom.
All right, I say we get started, and anybody who's ever attended a workshop where I am knows I like to start with some vocal warm-ups, and I usually choose warm-ups from my book called Vocalize. This book has 45 exercises that are designed to teach technique. Now, how have we made them great for remote teaching? We've adapted them into interactive slides, and you see on our screen right now what those interactive slides look like. For some of you, this isn't brand new, but I'm going to run the demonstration video that I made earlier this summer, sort of explaining how this resource works, and then it will lead me to my next introduction of some even more exercises for your Vocalize students. Let's check that out. I am so excited to share this adaptation from Alfred Music of my warm-up collection called Vocalize. Knowing that you need to keep your students singing while at home, we have created the Vocalize Sing-Along slides. Check these out. It is a Google slide presentation that you will own your very own copy of to drop in your own learning platforms, Google Classroom, or whatever you use, or share out with your students. The purchase of one slide deck means you can share it with all of your students in your choir. Now let's check out, when they receive the Vocalize slides, what will your students be doing? Here's what it looks like. I'm just going to click to move us to the first slide where we have an introduction and the directions. The directions are very simple. Basically, you will see an audio icon on each and every page. Read the instructions, press the audio icon, and sing along. Okay, the first exercise that shows up is the lips, the tongue, the tip of the teeth. Read these instructions, which remind us that we need to use good diction. And by using those parts of the mouth, the lips, the tongue, and the tip of the teeth, enunciate clearly as you sing. And then students will simply press this audio icon, and away we go. The lips, the tongue, the tip of the teeth, carefully singing each word. Enunciate, enunciate, so that the lyrics are heard. The lips, the tongue, the the tip of the teeth. Of course, every exercise modulates to many keys, so you're really warming up the full vocal range when you sing with these slides. Let's try sing legato, sing staccato. Sing legato, fa la 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 la. Sing staccato, ha 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 ha. I'm going to move on to the very next one. Never louder than lovely. All about using tone that is beautiful and not oversung. Never louder than lovely. Never stronger than sweet. Never more volume than beauty. Singing like this is a treat. Let's see what else we have. There are 25 exercises in this product that you may send the whole deck out to students or create different copies where you just send them specific exercises geared to whatever skills you're introducing or reinforcing. I hope you enjoy the Vocalize sing-along slides. Yes, and now I'm very excited to introduce 25 more Vocalize sing-along slides in this brand new set, Vocalize sing-along slides set 2. Now, this calls upon 10 existing from the book and 15 brand new, because over the years, I've met teachers like you all who are using the Vocalize book. Your kids are learning so many techniques with the exercises, and you've said, can you write a second level of this? And I've usually said, oh, I don't know. I think we've covered all the topics. But I've been listening and putting down ideas over these years about what are some other techniques I might want to reinforce with exercises for singers. And here comes set 2 now. So in set 2, there are 15 brand new, never before seen or heard exercises. So if you're looking for a couple new, fresh things for your kids, I highly recommend these. I'm going to teach you a couple right now that I've never taught before. The first one is called the oval. And we often talk about to kids about for vowel shapes, we drop the jaw, we shape the mouth round. But you know, there's more to it. There's actually a lot of space inside. And I talk to my students about an oval shape as if you had a hard-boiled egg standing up the tall way on the tongue to create space inside. So here's what the lyrics are. Tall and round, shape the space. And here's how you do it. Oval in the mouth, and an oval on the face. That combination of inside and outside space. Of course, there are accompaniments embedded right into the slides. Let's sing along at home one time, the oval with accompaniment. So yes, you might think the concepts are really building upon what you've already been teaching with that Vocalize set 1, and you are correct. We're taking it kind of to the next level here. Let's check out another exercise called shaping the phrase. Now, of course, you've said this to your students before. Every phrase is either coming or going, rising or falling, crescendoing or decrescendoing. And one of the most basic ways to shape a phrase is just grow to the middle and taper at the end. When you want to amaze with a shaping of a phrase, grow in the middle and taper at the end. That's what that one's all about. And you can take this exact statement when you're singing a choral piece of music and you're getting ready for competition or festival, and you could say to the kids, remember the shaping of a phrase. Let's grow in the middle, taper at the end, or do whatever you need to do to shape those phrases so that they're not just stagnant. Let's look at the next exercise. This one is about breathing, and I think we would all agree as people who teach singing that breathing is the foundation for all of it. So I don't think we can ever have enough breathing exercises. This one really talks about the idea that when you inhale, a lot of us talk about don't put it in the shoulders. Your chest should not raise up with that air, but rather down here in the torso, the diaphragm. But when you really become a fantastic inhaler, you're also going to expand the sides of the body, the rib cage opening up, and the back, we're at the bottom of the rib cage as well. So I talk to students about, imagine you're wearing an old-fashioned inner tube in the swimming pool, and it's right down around your middle, kind of belly button. And as you inhale, really fill the air all the way, even into the back, and it's going to give you that extra bit of air that you need to make the long phrases. Go ahead and sing this one along at home. Here's how it sounds before we hit the play cue. The tummy and the sides, alas and alack, the inner tube expands, even in the back. Can we sing it with accompaniment? Twice through. Excellent. And of course, you notice I put several pretty sizable rests in the music, and each time your students can inhale and really check for that expansion and that sort of imagery of filling the inner tube. So that is Vocalize Set 2. I hope you will enjoy those and really continue to build upon the great vocal techniques. Just because we're not in rehearsal with our kids doesn't mean we sit stagnant. We continue to teach valuable lessons, and they're ready for you in these slide sets. I'm going to move on to another choral agenda of mine. I have a couple of agendas. One is teaching good technique. The other is teaching every singer to sight sing and to practice almost daily. I would encourage you to fit in sight singing all the time. Here is a new thing that I came up with. Gosh, I think it just happened maybe 2 months ago at the most. Maybe even a month ago this came out. Sight singing workshop. I've been working on this while in quarantine because I thought the thing that I think students might miss out on the most from my choral rehearsals is that daily sight singing. So could I provide daily sight singing exercises for them to do at their own devices at home? And I came up with Sight Singing Workshop. There are 60 on-screen exercises, and these are organized into 20 units. I'm mentioning the 20 units because I'm going to give you a sample of one of the units right now, and it's Unit 10. Let's take a peek. Unit 10, of course, is right in the middle. So if you're thinking how difficult these are, know that there's 9 that are easier that have led to this point, and then it goes even a little farther into the challenges as we moved throughout the rest of the collection of slides. Now, each unit has a total of 5 slides in it, okay? And those 5 slides are scaffolded learning, where we're going to concentrate on certain things at a time. We start with rhythm. So check out the slide you see to your left, Unit 10 Rhythm Drill. The directions say type the correct rhythm syllables in the boxes and then advance to the next slide to reveal the answers. So those little blue boxes there on the slide, your students will be able to go in there and type in the tas or the titis or the tika-tikas. You don't have to use Kodai. I use Kodai, but you don't have to. You could easily use another system like the Gordon system or Takadimi, whatever you use. Let's look at the slide that you see on the right of your screen. This is slide number 2 in Unit 10. The answers are provided. Now, I want to say if you do use Takadimi or something like that, you have a personal copy of these slides, so you may edit what you see there. The slides provide you my answers, the Kodai syllables, but you can easily type in whatever you want it to be there. Then it says, check your answers, clap, tap, or chant the exercise. So your students would be singing ta, ti, ti, ta, ta, ti, 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 ta. Okay, I often click my tongue on a rest just to hold the space. Kids find that to be fun. And do notice that there is an audio icon, so they would then be able to click and hear that. It's a little bit of an accompaniment as they chant the rhythm back. Let's move on to the next slide. Still in Unit 10, but now we're moving on to pitch patterns. Take a look at the left side. Type the correct solfege syllables into the boxes, and then we'll advance to the next slide. So your students would go in there and type in, I notice we're in the key of F. They're going to type in do, mi, sol, mi, etc. Moving to the slide that's on your right, they have the answers provided. They can practice singing do, mi, sol, mi, do, ti, do. And when they want to do it with accompaniment, we'll play this play icon in just a second for you. You're first going to hear the pitches are given, then 4 clicks, then go ahead and sing along at home. Let's try it. So the teacher in me always wants to lead those students to success. So this pitch pattern and the rhythm drill we did prior to this have led to this moment of success. Let's move to the next slide in the presentation. Each unit ends with the melody maker. It's the culmination of the rhythms that you've drilled and the pitch patterns that you learned. So I'm imagining there's going to be a little bit of do, mi, so movement in here since that's what we just practiced. I'm going to go ahead and hit that play icon. Go ahead and sing along at home. I see a great question that has come from Nadia. It does not assume that students know the time signature or the key signatures or the time signatures. As a matter of fact, it doesn't assume that the students know anything. The opening slides in the workshop are, what is it called? I think it's called a toolkit, a toolbox. There are toolbox slides which explain every rhythm that's going to be taught, every pitch, all the key signatures are there for reference, and the time signatures. So there is opening material before they actually dive into the exercises, if your kids need that for review or even introduction of concepts. Now, how about a little assessment? How are you going to assess how the kids are doing? Well, you could easily ask them to record themselves and drop you a recording if you want to do that. I feel like they're going to have a sense of how they did just by if it made sense when they sang with that accompaniment. They're going to get a feeling for if they were close or completely off by what it sounds like. But also there's this wonderful thing at the bottom of the page where you see that SmartMusic link. As a gift from SmartMusic, this is totally free. They have embedded to the program where your kids could click right there on the slide. It'll take them to a free experience in SmartMusic, which includes the ability to record themselves with that accompaniment. Not only can they download that recording and send it to you, but the program itself assesses the kids. It hears what they're singing, turning correct notes and pitches into a green color and ones that need work into a red color. And so they can try over and over again and try to turn all those notes green. So that is built right in. I hope you will enjoy Sight Singing Workshop. I think it's a great way to keep your kids building on skills. You could probably use this synchronously where you're sharing screens with your kids if they're remote and you're teaching, as I have done today. Or it works great asynchronously, that's a big word, where the kids can work on their own on this. And of course, if you are in the classroom certain days or all days, how wonderful to project this up on your screen and work on the sight singing that way. I think it's a great way to know your kids are all looking at what they're supposed to look at, because with the youngsters, we don't always know if their eyes are on the right thing when they're sight singing. So I hope you'll enjoy it. I've mentioned SmartMusic just now, and I actually, just in case there's anyone here who isn't familiar with what SmartMusic is, we're going to take a quick break from me talking and run this quick little bit of information.
SmartMusic is a suite of web-based music education tools that support efficient practice and help musicians develop and grow. With SmartMusic, every student gets their own account, giving them access to a world-class practice studio wherever they take their Chromebook, iPad, or laptop. Here's what sets SmartMusic apart. Nothing is more important for student development than playing quality music. SmartMusic's unparalleled library lets students work from more than 100 top method books and practice the solo repertoire and large ensemble titles that matter. Students practice with professional accompaniment, so they know how their part fits in with the whole and can model their sound on stellar musicians. Practice makes perfect, unless you practice mistakes. With SmartMusic, students receive immediate feedback on pitch and rhythm, so they know when they've got it right. Best of all, when they practice the correct notes at home, rehearsals can focus on the things that really matter. Students can also control the speed of accompaniments, loop tricky sections, access a metronome and tuner, and hear recordings of their performances. When a student is ready to turn in an assignment, SmartMusic sends the best take back to their teacher. With SmartMusic's gradebook, teachers can see student performance scores, hear their recordings, and provide students with feedback. In addition to sending and receiving assignments, teachers with paid subscriptions can access Compose, the built-in music notation tool. Compose empowers teachers to create and customize music for their students. They can start from scratch or edit music made in other programs, and they can create everything from short exercises to full scores. Teachers with paid subscriptions can also access the Sight Reading Builder, which automatically generates an infinite number of sight reading exercises, customized for any student or ensemble. Teachers control every element, from range and rhythm to time and key. All of these tools and more are part of SmartMusic. Try SmartMusic for free today at smartmusic.com.
So, yeah, it's a really useful tool, and I just want to add to that little announcement there that there are many, many pieces of choral repertoire in SmartMusic, as well as resources. So you will find Vocalize exercises in SmartMusic. Of course, Sight Singing Workshop we just said is there. My full Sing at First Sight method, which is a much more complete curriculum for sight singing. Many of the books from that method are in SmartMusic, so lots of good resources as well. And I know we're interested in resources today, so I'm going to move on to our very next one called ChoirBites. This is such an innovative tool, not so much because of the slides, but because of the things it's teaching. Rehearsal technique builders, choral techniques. Have you ever observed a choral rehearsal where the choral conductor says just the right thing to make their students or that choir improve, no matter what it is, whether it's use of breath or tone quality or the shaping of a phrase? If they have just those quick little tricks and tidbits, the vernacular of their rehearsals, it comes in so handy. And that's what ChoirBites is all about. It's put together by a wonderful choral conductor. I consider him a master choral conductor from Kettering, Ohio. His name is Brody McDonald. And these are the concepts he teaches his high school singers, although I think they'd be great for younger singers as well, and even adult singers. And here's how it works. We're going to run a little demo video, and then I'll show you some more. Introducing ChoirBites, interactive slides by Brody McDonald. A look at the first slide for a brief introduction and the directions, which say, carefully read the text of each ChoirBite article, then complete the 5 review questions that follow. Answer fields are fillable, so you may type answers into the slides and they will be saved. Use ChoirBites as a remote learning curriculum, supplemental material to discuss during rehearsals, or as substitute lesson plans. A look at the contents page, and you see there are 24 key choral concepts covered. Let's review Shine Bright Like a Diamond. We click here to arrive at the beautiful imagery of a ChoirBite, as well as some teaser text about the article to come. The very next slide is a brief article. In this case, the 4 C's of pricing a diamond become an analogy for choral singing. Those are color, cut, clarity, and carats. After reading the article, singers learn that by paying attention to the 4 C's, we can help our choir shine bright like a diamond. The article is always followed by a review. And when you view the slides in editing mode, you will notice that all the answer fields are fillable, so you can easily type in and save your answers. Purchase of ChoirBites includes the right to share the entire deck or select slides with all of your choir members on a learning platform of your choice. And I think they're really great for if you have navigated sort of away from singing right now. This is a great way to continue to build your choral techniques without a lot of singing in class. I had one I was going to show you. I want to mention that you will receive, if you stick around to, well, we're going to give you in the chat, probably at the end, a PDF of all of our slides today. So you'll have all of these things you can look at much closer if you want to read each and every word that you see on the slides. Here is one of my favorites from Brody's ChoirBites. It's called Singing in Different Fonts. The very brief article talks about onomatopoeia, and those are words that, of course, the definition sounds like, the word sounds like the definition. So buzz, hiss, those are onomatopoetic words. Then he talks about giving special meaning to words that maybe don't have the onomatopoeia built in, but you could express the word love or strong or death in a way that it gives a little bit of extra meaning. And then the shortcut while singing is consider singing certain words to really express those texts in different fonts. So if you were singing the word love is strong as death, you could really bring special meaning in the way your choir approaches that. Of course, the review slide there has the fillable boxes, and I really enjoy the last review question in this particular chapter because Brody asks the students to find places in the repertoire that they are working on currently, cite the measure number and page numbers where this particular concept might come in handy. And that's a really great way to link the repertoire to what you're rehearsing and teaching through ChoirBites. Perfect teaching technique there. At this point, I'm going to hand it over to Krista, who's going to introduce some great resources for music history and culture. Hi, Krista.
Hi, thanks, Andy. I want to share with you 2 interactive slide products that are centered on music history. Now, these are wonderful resources for your general music or music appreciation classes, but can also supplement your curriculum in your performance-based classes as well. The first is called The Women of Western Music. And hopefully we're all looking carefully to make sure that we're presenting a diverse group of people when we talk about who musicians and composers are. So this slide deck is going to introduce you to a group of women that may not have received all of the attention that they should have over the years. So let's watch a quick tour that will show us more about this product.
Present a more inclusive view of music history with the women of Western music. This slide deck covers the music and lives of 18 noteworthy composers, teachers, and performers who just happen to be female. Students read a biography, listen to a recorded example, and complete an assessment activity, all within the slides. Here's the chapter on African-American singer Marian Anderson. The first slides introduce the musician with a biography, quick facts in the Things to Know section, and a sample recording embedded in the slide. Each chapter includes an article on a topic related to the artist as well. In this case, it's classical voice types. The section ends with the Points to Remember box. The final slide in each chapter is an assessment, featuring activities like crossword puzzles, word scrambles, letter tiles, and more. In this case, the student will create a poem about Marian Anderson by using each letter of her name to begin a new line. The student will type directly into the boxes to complete the activity, then return the slide to you. Teachers can distribute individual chapters by copying slides to a new deck. Purchase includes permission to share with one school or organization through Google Classroom, email, or other platforms. You will receive the slides in both PowerPoint and Google Slides formats. Download today.
And that's true for all our interactive slide decks. You will get a link to make a copy of your own for the Google slide deck, and then you also get the PowerPoint file as well, so whatever works best for your format. And if you're interested in that product, we do have some great interviews with the author, Anna Wentlet, on our website, so be sure to check those out. She gives a lot more history about how she wrote the book and the people in the book and some teaching strategies as well. The second resource I want to share with you is an interactive slide deck that's an adaptation of an Alfred bestseller, Accent on Composers. It focuses on the lives and compositions of 22 master composers, and you might recognize this book cover, but check out how beautifully it has been translated over into this Google Slides format. I love seeing all the color. Let's take a look at a tour of this. This is a quick tour of Accent on Composers, Volume 1, Interactive Slides. This slide deck includes information on 22 different composers, and students are going to read about the composer, listen to an example of their work, and then do an assessment about what they've learned. Let's take a look at one of these composers. On the first slide, you're always going to get a portrait of the composer and a biography of their life and work. The next slide features factoids about the composer, a chart that shows you what type of music they composed, and a timeline about what was going on in the world while the composer lived. Next, we move into the listening section. We're going to focus on one particular piece by this composer. There's background information about it and a description of it. You also get a second-by-second listening guide, and the audio is embedded right here in the slide for the student to listen to. The final slide for each composer is the review slide. The student will type into each box their name and their answers. So they're reading, listening, and completing all the assessments all within these slides, and then they return it to you when complete. Purchase includes the permission to share this slide deck with your school or organization through Google Classroom, email, or whatever platform you're using to teach with. You will get a link to a Google slide deck to copy, and you'll also get a PowerPoint file of these slides. Thanks for watching. All right, so we've shared with you a few of our classroom products that we've converted to this interactive slide format, but many of our other classroom resources are now offered as a digital PDF so that you can have them just a click away, whether you're teaching from home or in the classroom. And it makes it so much easier to share those reproducible student pages if you have the book in that PDF format. So this slide is showing you a sampling of some of the Alfred classroom products that you can now download on demand. And Michaela, if you would give us a link. There's a link to a webpage that has all the products that are available digitally, the slides and the PDF books and everything else. So you can see from that one page everything that's available. And once you purchase, it's in your library and available to you at any time. We have books on composers, music history, theory, worksheets, games, and puzzles. And one of those puzzle books is a new resource that I created called Music Go Round. And this is a collection of 100 puzzles with fun names like musical mix-ups, puzzling pitches, music notes spelling bees, rhythm hunts, and more. And it covers concepts that you're already teaching in those elementary general music classes. It's great for bell work, simple assessments, lesson extensions, or if you have a substitute teacher. The digital download of the book is available, or you can buy the traditional hard copy book, which also gives you access to a PDF of the book as well. So either way, you're set up to get it to your students very easily in a digital remote format. Andy, I'm going to turn it back to you.
Yes, I'm going to keep talking about singing because I just think with the lack of singing that maybe has been going on, we're all dying to sing again or keep singing. So I love the idea of sending your students resources that will keep them singing. The next slide set is great for elementary students to do just that. These are sing-along songs for spring and summer with words and music by Michael Souders. These are very brief little solos on various topics, including all the months from March through August, one holiday in each of those months. So things like St. Patrick's Day and Arbor Day and Mother's Day and Father's Day are all covered, all the way back to August when they sing a song about getting back to school. I'm excited to get back to school next year. There are 14 songs in all, and for each of the songs included, students get a couple of options. There is a lyric sheet for each one, as you see on the middle of the right side of your screen. Lyrics only. And then at the bottom, you see that we also provide melody lines. So if you have students that are ready to start looking at notation, there is that option as well. Not only that, but on each slide, there are 2 options for audio. Let's take a look at our next slide here. This one is for St. Patrick's Day. I thought you might want to have this song to teach really, really soon. I have a lucky shamrock so beautiful and green, reminds me of my homeland so pretty and serene. How did I learn the song? I listened to the audio cue that is over on the bottom right that said sing with others, where I can hear children's voices demonstrating the song. Let's take a listen.
Shamrock so beautiful and green, reminds me of my homeland so pretty and serene. Come on,
all right.
Con.
And moving to the next slide, students can also look at the notation here if they're really working on their reading skills, both rhythmic and pitch, of course. And do notice there's another audio icon throughout the entire collection, that sing alone. This is when you feel you've really got the part down and you're ready to be an independent singer. You click the sing alone icon and you get accompaniment only. Would you sing this song at home? Let's get ready for St. Patrick's Day. Sing along now. Oh, yes, so festive, and each song has its own character to really, really bring those holidays to life. Now, you're thinking, what about next year when we have fall and winter? No worries, there is another slide set called Sing-Along Songs for Fall and Winter with those months and holidays as well. Let's watch a demo video to see some of these. Here is a quick tour of sing-along songs for fall and winter. These are interactive slides with words and music by Michael Souders. First thing I do is hit the space bar, and it will take me to the next page, which lists all 14 songs included in this slide collection. You notice there's a song about autumn, and then one about each of the autumn months, as well as one holiday within those months. Same is true of winter, the winter months, and one holiday within each of those months. Now, for every song in this collection, your students will get to look at, first of all, the lyric sheets, and if we press the bar, I go right onto notation sheets. So you have 2 options of how they will view the songs and sing along. I should also show you, I think I'm going to look at the song Ghosts and Ghoulies, that you have 2 options for what you hear on each slide. There's Sing Along with Others, a full recording including singers, and there is Sing Alone, accompaniments only. Let's do Sing Along with Others and get a feel for Ghosts and Ghoulies. super fun. Now, if I go back to that home slide, I'm going to go forward by many months, and let's look at the end of February for a song for Valentine's Day. And it's called Love, Love, Love. This time, we'll keep up the lyric sheet, and I'm going to hit Sing Alone. I know this song already, so I'm able to sing it alone. Here's what it sounds like. Love, love, love is a beautiful thing. Love, 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 it will make your heart sing. Love, 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 it will make your heart pure. Love, 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 when you open the door. Well, I hope you and your students enjoy sing-along songs for fall and winter. And you know what might be really neat for those of us who are doing a hybrid, your students can sing these when you're in class, of course, spaced apart with their masks. Probably you have your own safety precautions, but they can also practice them at home. And when you have these slides, you've got the permission to share them with lots of kids on lots of devices. So you really get a lot of bang for the buck with these. I'm going to turn it over to Krista now, who has just a really, really awesome demonstration of our next collections. These are wonderful general music resources. Krista, back to you.
Thank you, Andy. Yeah, I want to talk about Musictivities. The Musictivities resources are collections of 20 adaptable activities that you can use for distance or in-person learning. There are 2 sets of Musictivities in the series, and we're really excited about having been able to create these in response to this remote teaching situation that you're all in. These are PDFs with student-facing instructions, and then there's embedded audio and video content and fillable text boxes. On the next slide, you'll see we've put together lessons from several different authors, and these are the table of contents pages from both sets. The lessons are divided into beginning, intermediate, and advanced, which you can see from the color coding there. And that takes you from basically kindergarten through about 8th grade. The national standards and musical concepts are listed for each lesson as well. So let's look inside this product. I'm going to share my screen if you'll give me a moment. Great. Hopefully you can all see that now. Let's look inside. I'm going to start with set 2, and I'm going to go to one of the beginning lessons. And you can get to any of the lessons. You can navigate to them by clicking on the title in the table of contents or using this navigation over here on the left. I want to show you this music listening walk, a lesson by Danielle Baird, who's a teacher out in Colorado. And this is a neat lesson on identifying and collecting sounds in the student's everyday environment. It starts with outside sounds, which is a nice way to encourage kids to get out of the house, get out of the apartment, and get out in the fresh air. They're going to record the sounds that they observe by writing down a description and then drawing a picture of the sound. Next, we move to indoor sounds. So what are the things that they're hearing around them inside and capturing those on the page? Now we turn it around a little bit and we're going to look for specific kinds of sounds. Where can you find a jingly sound? Maybe it's the sound of your mom's keys when she comes home from work, or a scraping sound, like the sound you hear when your brother's chair as he gets up from his computer desk, and so on. So we're asking the students to classify the sounds. And as a final step, we cover respond and connect standards with some reflection questions. I like this last question. Why do you suppose musicians are so good at listening for sounds around them? And then the student just clicks in the box and can type in their answer. Let's look at an intermediate level lesson called Musical Mysteries. In this case, we're going to listen to a tune as it's meant to be performed with the correct time signature, tempo, key signature, dynamics. The audio is embedded, so you can just click right on the button and it opens up the audio in a new web browser window. Next, we look at our list of clues. So these are the changes that could be made to the tune to alter it. On the next page, we go to the mysteries. Here you can listen to the recording and look at the notated music to try and figure out which one of these mysteries is solved by the clue from the list on the page above. And the student will just click right into that magnifying glass and type in their answer. All right, an advanced level lesson is Careers in Music. This is where students will explore different types of jobs available in the music industry. And they're going to research requirements for the job, determine what kind of skills they would need to succeed in this job, and then create a job description, which could be a LinkedIn post, a radio ad, a poster, a TV commercial, whatever kind of creative way the student can come up with to attract people to apply. And then finally, they will reflect on their own personal career goals. Let's switch over to set 1, where you have 20 completely different resources or lessons to choose from. Miss Mary Mac is a really fun lesson where you're going to learn a song and the movements to go with it using icons and the notated music, as well as two videos, one that's an instruction and one that's a performance that will help you learn the song and the movements. Measure the Measures is all about grouping beats into measures using bar lines. You get a review of the time signatures, and then add in bar lines to 4 musical examples. Once we have the bar lines set, students are going to go back and clap or tap the rhythms to determine which of these songs fits with the musical examples. And be sure to check out Andy's lesson called Solo Canon Challenge. It is a lot of fun and could absolutely be the next viral TikTok challenge. All right, let's look at how to use these products in your classroom. On page 3 in both sets, we've got a page that's got lots of ideas for you on how to use these. Just think of this book or this product as if you were buying a reproducible printed book. So you can copy these pages for your students. So for students working individually at home, the lessons can be distributed as an email attachment or posted in your learning platform for students to download. Students can use those fillable answer boxes if they have a PDF editor and print, or they could print the pages out and write on them. They could also turn in some of the assignments by taking a photo or a video with their phone. For group learning, you could share your screen and conduct these lessons through Zoom, Team, or Google Meet. In the classroom, obviously, you could just print out pages for each individual student as you normally would, or project them on the screen. These could also be great activities for centers in your classroom. And if you're teaching on a cart, this is a great way to just bring these up on screen without having to add any weight to the stuff you're already pushing around on your cart. And you can assign individual lessons by extracting pages using the editing tools in a PDF application, like I'm using Adobe Acrobat. You can just select those pages that you want to send out, click Extract, and then it gives you a separate file of just those 2 pages that you can post or email or distribute however you want to your students. So that is Musictivities, and I will turn it back over to Andy now.
Thank you, Krista. I think you had a couple of housekeeping notes for everybody. We want to encourage you to keep the conversation going.
Yes, I'm so thank you for reminding me of that. I do want to give you a couple of links here. Michaela's going to drop a link in again to the remote resources page on alfred.com, which is where you can find all of these resources. I hope you'll bookmark that page so that you can quickly go back to these and reference them or to place an order. And someone asked if these are available on Pepper as well. They are. We also would like to hear from you about how we did in this session. So Michaela will give you a link to a survey where you can give us some feedback. So please open that up and fill out that right after the session ends. If you missed any information that we gave, Michaela will send out next week a recording and the slide deck from the presentation, so you can reference that as well. And please follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our email list so that you can keep up with all the new resources, the events that we have coming up, blog posts, free resources, all kinds of things. And we want to keep a conversation going with you. If you'd like to submit an article to our blog, you can go to alfred.com/submissions, and we'd love to hear your thoughts there. And there are more webinars coming up. Our next choral webinar is going to be Sight Singing Workshop. So that's going to be a deep dive into that resource that Andy previewed with you a little bit earlier today. That's going to be in mid-February, and you'll see an announcement coming up about registration in the next couple of weeks. I hope you'll join us for that. And now I think Andy has another resource for us.
I do. I always like to end with something like super fun, and that's going to have us exiting our virtual room, kind of tapping our toes and singing along. And this next one is what I chose. It's called Ukulele Explorer. It is an on-screen ukulele experience. And I want to talk a little bit about the two authors. They're a husband and wife team, and it's a perfect marriage for this product because we've got John Stone, who is a private ukulele teacher, really with the technique of how to take students from that beginning first time they hold it all the way to playing their favorite pop songs, with the combination of his wife, Danielle Bayert, who is a master elementary classroom teacher, firmly rooted in curriculum and how to present things in a general music setting. So I think this is awesome. When we first put it together, it was intended to be used projected on the screen at the front of your room. But gosh, I think it's going to work beautifully for students who are working individually in their own space. If you're lucky enough to have some classroom ukuleles, distribute those out to your kids when they come to pick up their packets. And perhaps some of your elementary or middle school kids can learn to play along with some pop songs. We're going to run the demo video so you can see more about it.
Ukulele Explorer, 10 ukulele lessons with strum-along songs by Danielle Bayert and John Stone. A must-have resource for any music classroom equipped with ukuleles. The creative pair of authors, one a general music teacher, the other a private ukulele instructor, has assembled an amazing interactive journey to quickly get your kids playing a host of familiar pop songs, including Roar, Best Day of My Life, Over the Rainbow, Riptide, and more. To begin, touch any of the islands to navigate to a specific lesson. Each lesson starts with tuning the instrument, then introduces a chord and a strum pattern. Next, incorporate the chord or pattern into a brief exercise for isolated practice before strumming along with an engaging performance piece. The culminating activity for each lesson is an interactive assessment. In addition to the software, reproducible PDFs of chord diagrams, ukulele charts, and singer pages for each song are provided. Embedded with fret diagrams, hand position photos, rhythmic chants for every new pattern, helpful getting started screens, plus appealing demo and play-along tracks, the adventure is only a few clicks away. Ukulele Explorer is compatible with all interactive whiteboards and both Mac and PC operating systems, and can even be operated with just a computer and a digital projector. The software and PDFs can be accessed through the included CD or as a download. Visit alfred.com or contact your favorite music retailer for more information about Ukulele Explorer.
That is so much fun. Gosh, I want to thank you for tuning in. And Krista, thank you so much for being part of today's presentation. I hope that we've presented some resources that are going to come in handy for folks out there, no matter their situation. And I really want to say that I'm so glad that we're staying connected during all of this. I miss being in a convention hall with you all and really making music and interacting that way. But you tuning into our webinars has really been a blessing during this very different year. So thank you for all taking the time to connect with us in that way.
And Andy, I know you and I have talked several times about how inspired we are by the way teachers are responding to this remote situation and quickly learning how to handle the new technology and how to maintain their music program through a distance. So I hope we're providing some resources that will help you guys do that.
Yes, we applaud you for all you've done this year and really encourage you to keep up the good work. We look forward to seeing you again soon.